All right, welcome. Today we are diving into a really simple but powerful playbook for, honestly, taking back control of your life. And here's the kicker. It doesn't start by cramming more onto your to-do list. It actually starts by reclaiming your time for just one meaningful personal goal that's just for you.
So does this sound familiar? You feel like life is just running you over. You're exhausted, you feel kind of powerless, and you're just constantly reacting to what everyone else needs from you. If that's you, you are in exactly the right place. Because research actually shows a wild, counterintuitive solution. It's not about doing less. It's about adding one specific thing that matters only to you.
And this quote from Mel Robbins really gets to the heart of it. A personal goal isn't just another task on the list. Nope, it's a declaration. It is you telling yourself that in the middle of all the chaos, the bills, the job, the obligations, your own dreams actually matter. It becomes your lifeline.
So here's our game plan. We're going to walk through 5 science-backed rules that are basically a map for your own personal quest. First, we'll talk about why your goal is your lifeline. Then, how to define it and really lock it into your brain. Third, how to find your inner compass. Fourth, your daily 15-minute quest. And finally, the incredible power of just not quitting. So let's jump in with that lifeline. Okay, I want you to think of your personal goal like an anchor that you choose to drop in the middle of a raging storm, right? When everything else feels completely out of your control, this one thing, whether it's learning guitar or writing a book or running a 5K, this is something you have chosen. And research shows that one simple act immediately makes you feel more in control of your entire life.
So that brings us to our very first rule, and honestly, this is the one almost everyone skips. Most of us just kind of manage our goals in our heads, right? But you can't hit a target that you don't actually see. So the very first step is to get that goal out of your head and onto a physical piece of paper.
And why does this simple act work so well? Well, it all comes down to a bit of neuroscience. See, your brain absolutely loves rehearsal. It's the exact same reason pilots use flight simulators and Olympic athletes visualize their entire race before it even starts. Writing your goal down is the very first step in that mental rehearsal, and it sends a massive signal to your brain that says, hey, pay attention. This is important.
Now, this is all based on a principle called Hebbian learning, and all that fancy term means is neurons that fire together, wire together. So the more of your senses you can engage with your goal, like the physical feeling of writing, the sight of the words, the sound of your own voice, the stronger those connections in your brain become. You are literally wiring your brain to make this goal a priority.
So here's how you do it. Neuroscientist Dr. Jim Doty gives us this super simple 4-step process to really encode the goal. First, you physically write it down. Then you read it silently to yourself. Next, and this is important, you say it out loud. And finally, you close your eyes and you visualize yourself actually doing it. This whole process basically hijacks your brain's negative "I can't do this" default mode and makes it believe, oh yeah, we're doing this.
Okay, so once your goal is encoded, you need the right fuel to actually chase after it. And this brings us to the next 2 rules, which are all about motivation. And the key takeaway here is pretty simple. Lasting motivation has to come from inside you, not from what other people think you should be doing. Now, this rule, it might sound a little harsh, but trust me, it is a game changer. Your personal goals are your responsibility, not your partner's, not your parents', not your friends'. You can't expect them to be your personal cheerleading squad, especially if they don't really get your goal. So when you release them from that expectation, it frees you up to take full ownership. This slide just lays it out so perfectly. On the left, you've got all that external noise, family opinions, what society says you should do, and on the right, you have your why, your internal engine. So rule number 3 is all about tapping into that right-hand column. You have to know, deep down, why this goal really truly matters to you. You know, this deep personal reason, that's what researchers call intrinsic motivation. And according to research from Dr. Elliot Berkman, this is the will part of achieving a goal. It's the purest, most powerful form of motivation because it's tied directly to your values and what gives your life meaning.
And your why is almost never about the surface level thing. You don't just want to run a marathon. Maybe you want that quality time you get training with your friends. You don't just want to learn to cook. You want the financial freedom to save for a house. This deeper meaning, that is the fuel that will get you through the days you just don't feel like showing up.
Okay, so you have your goal, and you have your why. Now let's talk about the how. Rule number 4 is the practical, no excuses action step. It's called the Hot 15. The idea is just to build the path to your goal one single brick at a time.
with a simple, daily 15-minute commitment.
15 minutes. That is it. Seriously, you can find 15 minutes. While you're waiting for a meeting to start, during your commute, maybe before you even check your phone in the morning. This isn't about some massive, heroic effort. It is all about small, consistent actions that build unstoppable momentum over time.
And you know what? It doesn't have to be a chore. Research from behavioral scientist Katie Milkman shows you can actually build instant gratification into your goals. So pair it with something you love, like maybe you only listen to your favorite podcast while you're on a run. Or, as James Clear adds, attach the action to your identity. You're not just meditating, you are becoming the kind of person who prioritizes calm.
Okay, this all builds to our final and maybe the most important rule of all. Because let's be real, life will get in the way. You'll get sick, you'll feel discouraged, you'll miss a day. This rule is all about the mindset you need to keep going when that inevitably happens.
I absolutely love this quote from Angela Duckworth, who wrote the book Grit. It totally redefines what we think discipline is. It's not about being perfect. It's not about going all out, 110% every single day. It's about consistency. It's that simple, quiet act of just showing up again after you've been knocked off course.
And remember that path you're building, one brick at a time? Well, if you miss a day, or hey, even a month, you don't lose the bricks you've already laid down. Your progress is still there. The only way you can truly fail is to stop coming back to the path and laying that next brick.
So there you have it. That's the 5-rule playbook. It's a complete system. It starts by encoding your goal in your brain, taking full ownership, finding your why. From there, you just use the Hot 15 to build your path, all while remembering to choose consistency over intensity. Simple.
Look, this isn't just about dreaming, it's about doing. You now have the tools and a research-backed strategy to add something truly meaningful to your life, starting right now. So the only question left is this. Your path is waiting for you. What's the first brick you're going to lay?